Hey, what's going on, guys? Arekkz here. Welcome back to another video for Marvel's Avengers, and today I'm joined by 2Six in Paradise. What's up, guys?
Hello, good morning.
Hey, everyone.
Or whatever time it is where you're at.
Exactly, right. Morning, evening, one of those ones. Because this weekend, it was, in the UK, it was EGX, which is like our version of kind of like a game show, sort of like a mini GAMESCOM. Definitely mini, but it was really, really cool. And while we were there, we had a chance to go hands-on with different games, check things out, and there was also a behind closed doors demonstration for Marvel's Avengers. You guys might remember I had a chance to go hands on with the game at Gamescom, and I sort of learned a few things from a presentation, but this time both 2Six and Paradise got to go hands on with Kamala Khan, who has of course only recently been revealed, and in the trailer, if you guys have seen it, you've probably seen a few very short gameplay snippets of her abilities. You've seen of course the cinematic, but these guys got to go hands on with like a good, I don't know, like 15, 20 minute chunk, right? And we'll kind of sort of, I basically just want to sort of jump in and let these guys talk a little bit about their hands-on experience, because this was not only their first time playing Marvel's Avengers, but also our first time seeing Kamala Khan properly in action. So let's start at the top. You guys obviously haven't played Marvel's Avengers before, so obviously all you've seen was the stuff they've publicly shown. So what are your initial impressions coming out of that?
Well, just like the trailers and stuff.
Yeah, because I think that one of the big problems that people have right now with this game is that if they just watch the trailers, it still doesn't really tell you what the game is. And a lot of people, you know, understandably, are watching and like, I'm still not excited about this game. And I think it's definitely one of those games that you have to play it to really understand what it is.
I think from the initial trailers and like seeing the game for the first time, a lot of people were disappointed that it isn't the celebrity superheroes that they know. It's a more unique character. It's sort of following the comics. It doesn't have the, you know, the voiceover and the motion capture of the celebrities, so it's a different experience than the movies, which obviously everyone's familiar with now. But from actually playing it, can we talk about the combat first real quick?
Sure.
So we played it. We played Miss Marvel, who's kind of like Elastigirl in her powers. You know, she's stretchy. She can go supersized and like do big punches and big heavy attacks. She's like a close to medium melee range character because she can reach quite far with her stretching powers. And in the gameplay that we did, it was a like wave after wave simulation to fight the different monsters and try out the combos and moves. And for me, the combat felt like the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man in terms of how fluid it was, in terms of like different combos you could do. But then it had these other elements mixed in of like active abilities that have cooldowns. You had like an ultimate ability that made you go super large. And I'm guessing that the other characters, the other heroes, have these same abilities and combos. And what we played was apparently only like the default abilities with no extra power-ups. The whole skill trees weren't unlocked, and we were able to do quite a few different combos and cool moves, grabbing on ledges. And then she had this really cool ability that was like like slamming enemies into the wall with her like hand after it's got enlarged. And then you had like finishes as well once you got the enemies weak. So the combat felt really fluid and really fun. But I think it's important to get like your expectations in check for this game if you're expecting to go in and see your favorite Captain America, you know, and your favorite Hulk from the celebrities, when actually what you're getting is a unique experience that's different from the mainstream sort of Marvel movies.
Yeah, definitely.
I think in general, people just need to have their expectations in check, right? Because I think the kind of design philosophy that they're going for, or criteria, is that they're trying to kind of make it games as a service, and we know how those games is run. Is it going to be another Anthem? Even Destiny, as good as people are enjoying it now, is not necessarily the pinnacle of like what people want it to be. There's still potential there. So if you are one that is sparing on money and doesn't necessarily have disposable income, do not get overly hyped for this game and prepare yourself for disappointment, because it could turn out horribly. But from what I have seen, this game has me excited, because there was a checklist of things that I went in beforehand seeing this demo, and they definitely had everything there that I wanted to like kind of see, which was great.
So what was on your checklist? What's like the kind of top level things?
Basically, the checklist was essentially just a kind of like a mirroring of features from Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I'm so used to saying Marvel versus Capcom. Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I've been enjoying playing up Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 on Nintendo Switch, and I played Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1. And the fact that you have like additional hero characters that will be coming as DLC, the fact that you have skill trees and abilities and different abilities that you can switch in and like augment and stuff like that. The fact that there is going to be loot that you can pick up and upgrade your characters that will give you perks and stuff it is essentially all I wanted from this game. It's co-op as well, and that's like a massive one for me. So I'm excited to get into this.
Where do you guys feel on this? Because I mentioned this following Gamescom. Like, I mentioned one of the things that was sort of like a slightly odd thing to me was that, because the campaign, for anyone that hasn't seen our Gamescom video, the experience is split into two main pillars. You have the hero missions, which are purely solo missions. You have to play these on your own. They advance the story. It's where they can kind of tell the core narrative. And then you have the Warzone missions. There are plenty of these, and this is where you go into the co-op stuff. The Warzone ones will be a lot more open. They kind of, I think the typical term people tend to use, like, wide linear. It's not a fully, like, to be clear, it's not an open world game, but it's definitely got that more open aspect to it. So what do you guys think to that setup? Like, is that going to create for like a weird playing experience? Because it's going to be like, we're going to play together, right? And then it'll be like, oh, hold on.
I don't really mind it too much. So you can think of it, and as you can see from the cutscenes and from the trailers that they've released, they're trying to really tell like a story-driven, hard-hitting, kind of emotional story with the characters that they have. So hopefully we get like almost like Batman Arkham, Spider-Man PS4 campaign that you can just play through and get through in a couple of hours, and then you can go back in and do like the co-op missions with your friends and just play that way. I was going to ask that question, if you could just play just solely the campaign missions without doing any of the co-op stuff, just straight through.
I think he made it sound like you could. I think during the presentation he said like if you wanted to kind of go linear, you could basically just do those.
He did say that, but I did see while he was doing the presentation that there was almost like a gear score on each mission, like when it was hovered over. So maybe you would have to do some side missions, or maybe the gear score's adjusted so that you can just go main mission to main mission. But he did say the progression carries over if you do the story missions or the multiplayer missions. So if you were to do a bunch of multiplayer missions, you could jump back into the story and be, more powerful than you were on the last mission, because you've just like got a bunch of gear and stuff. But what you were saying about the missions, the interesting thing that I remember is he said that there's a world map, which is the whole world, and you could zoom into each continent, which would then sort of display the missions in that continent, and then you could zoom back out and go into a different continent, be a bunch of missions there. There's obviously the story missions, which were the like more linear. You don't really pick your character, you pick the character that's relevant to that story mission, and you play through it. We've seen the Golden Gate Bridge trailer, that's a linear story mission. Then you've got the multiplayer co-op ones, which were kind of like the side quests of the game. But he did also say there was specific character missions, like there's certain Black Widow missions where you sort of expand the story or the backstory or whatever it is for that particular character, and it lets you unlock certain costumes or special pieces of gear or stuff like that.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of that stuff. But before we kind of sort of like speak more about some of the other stuff in that presentation, just kind of want to sort of go back to combat for a second for like touch on that for like you two, because obviously you, like both you guys have played like Spider-Man, obviously you played the Arkham games. How did you feel about Miss Marvel or Kamala Khan, like in terms of like combat and fluidity?
I thought the combat was going to be fully like ropey, in terms of like it was just going to be very simple, but there's like deviations on the buttons. It's very similar to Batman Arkham, like more so than like Spider-Man PS4. Spider-Man PS4 was like more of a simplified version of the Arkham system. Very similar, but I feel like it's an in-between both of them in terms of the abilities, and it was super satisfying doing her abilities as well. Like she'll just like have a big hand slap and clap the person against the wall. She'll just like grow like 10 foot tall and like kick the person, like boot over.
The kick was the best one, like literally the massive foot, you just booted enemies.
Yeah, it was great. And if you can get like perks that augment that, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So just to recap the combat, there was a light attack, a heavy attack. There was a power-up mode that was like a bar you filled that when you held it down, you had like more powerful attacks and different combos. You had your active abilities. You had aerial attacks, which was a whole different like moveset on your heavy and light attack. You also could like hold both light and heavy, I think, to do sort of stronger, more like wound up versions of that attack. So if you
it's like a shield break. Yeah.
If you held heavy attack, you did like a giant slam if you were jumping and stuff like that. I think that was everything that we had in that playable demo, but again, we didn't have everything unlocked at that point as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then every single character has the 3 core abilities like that work around a cooldown at the bottom. So your ones were a healing ability, the Embiggen, which is like your super one, which grows you massively, and then like one additional one. But of course, those are the ones, and that's the interesting thing. Those are the ones where they can be swapped out when you start speccing down the skill tree. So it is nice to think, because I think it was one of the ones in like when we were playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance, we were like, it would have been kind of cool if you could have like different moves you can unlock for different characters and stuff, right?
Because that's how it was in Marvel Ultimate Alliance. You can unlock different abilities, which means that you can like come up with different configurations for teams and like go all aim to like one type of abilities. Like say if you all went down to, you had a gun ability, you can do that and stuff. So you can get some like real good synergy off there.
Yeah.
So again into combat, one thing in like recent games that has annoyed me personally is the feeling of not being as powerful as you would like to be. And what I did notice with the Embiggen, which was like the ultimate ability, the biggest cooldown, you were mega powerful in that Embiggen state. You could kill those like mobs and even the boss at the end that we fought incredibly quick. And if you weren't Embiggen, you did, you know, literally a fraction of that damage. So it seems like from what I played in that one demo is the ultimate abilities are actually powerful. But we'll have to see what the other characters are like.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely got a chance to try that out, like on the bridge demo when I was playing, like especially Hulk. Hulk feels really good. Like when you're smashing through things and you pick people up and you're just dashing them around, you definitely get that really cool feeling.
I do see one mistake in the combat, specifically with Kamala Khan, and hopefully they can get it fixed for launch. Just like the slap ability just doesn't work against like big enemies. It just doesn't. And hopefully there isn't like redundant like abilities like that just don't work on certain enemies. If you're like, most abilities should work on most enemies, and that slap looked like it should have worked on like the boss, but it just did no damage.
Even if it stuns the boss, that would be cool. Like, oh, I can't move the boss because it's too big, but I just super slapped it, like at least stun it or knock it over or something.
Yeah, because that's always the problem with these kind of games, right? It's like they make you feel super powerful when you're fighting the regular trash mobs, but the second you fight like a boss, and obviously I appreciate you're not going to kill a boss in one hit, but like when you do, suddenly you become like, it almost like changes the playstyle completely, because if you're fighting a boss and half your stuff doesn't work, it kind of is like, what do I do kind of thing. So yeah, it'd be cool if they can find like a nice sort of balance point for that.
I definitely think that people should like really think about and kind of temper their expectations about the end game in this, because I don't think they spoke about any of the pinnacle content, and I don't think people should like expect any of that pinnacle end game content. This is like a game that you kind of check in every so often, like every month. You're gonna play it when content drops, not necessarily like every day in and out. You can do that if you want to min-max your characters and get all the good gear and all that stuff, but I would definitely not say like it's, from what I've seen so far, that it's a day in day out grind. Not necessarily that we even need that, because there's so many of those games at the moment, and you might even just be burnt out from playing so many of those games because people don't have that much time nowadays. So
it almost seems like it would fit to your point there. Like it would almost be more akin to, say, the way people can enjoy Monster Hunter, right? You know, you play through Monster Hunter and then you check in every time they add like a new update sort of thing, you know, in that where, as opposed to the Destiny, like it's not, I don't see it working around like a weekly cycle, like, oh yo, let's reset, let's go and do our bounties and do this, that and the other, right? It's more going to be like, you know what, there's new content this month.
But we got to remember there is like 6 playable heroes that all have their own gear, their own levels, their own skill trees, and their own costumes to unlock, and then there's going to be extra characters added in the future as well. So if you're really into the game, there's definitely that replayability, but for like an average person, you might play your favorite hero to the end, and then you're kind of going to be done unless you're helping a friend in co-op, or unless they add the, you know, waiting to add the next character.
Yeah, but I think that's fair enough. I think, you know, especially if you're more so invested in, like, you know, the Marvel universe as a whole anyway, and you just want to sort of like check in and have a story and have that story expand, almost like, you know, a new comic comes out, you're like, I've got a new chapter. That could be quite a cool way to experience it, right?
Yeah, but I was like super impressed with the game. Like, I'm trying not to get too excited for it, but I know how to like contain my expectations for it. But I like am thoroughly, like, from what I've seen, it's like very good. It's very good. Like, I enjoyed my time playing as Kamala Khan, and she's not even like one of those heroes that I'm super attached to. Like Captain America might be my like go-to. It'll be interesting to see who they add, because I think they have like their access to like probably like the full roster of like Marvel characters, because I think like the licenses are completely different from the movie, so they can pull from anywhere. It's not like, oh, they can't use Spider-Man characters, they can't use Hulk, they can't use like the X-Men characters, which obviously they can now because all those crazy deals have gone through, but like there isn't any restrictions because it's like Marvel owns all the video game characters, so hopefully we get some like bang like heroes that are added and stuff. So, yeah.
That'd be really cool.
Well, just quickly to talk about the gear as well, which I don't think there's a whole lot of information out there. It seems like you have different gear slots, you have a gear score, there's different rarities on the gear. The different rarities means there's more perks on that item of gear. So if you have a rare, it might have 1 perk. If you have like an epic, it has like 2 perks or something like that. Then there's also, I believe he said there was set bonuses as well. If you had a whole set of like Tony Stark industry gear, then you'd have that set bonus as well. So it looked quite interesting, quite similar to how other games sort of do gear with different rarity systems and stuff. But I'm hoping
one of the cool
that
things
it will add to the like in the replayability of it as well to grind out that specific set that you want.
Well, I think it will, because one of the cool things that they sort of like noticed on the UI is that like you get perks in the gear, but you have to unlock the perks. And I saw like one of the UI things, there'll be like something you have to collect. Like let's just say it's like an ore you have to collect. And obviously, I assume that's something you will farm during, say, like a Warzone mission. So you don't, from what it looked like on the thing, not all the perks will be default unlocked. So there seems to be in-gear progression as well, as opposed to just progressing your character by getting better gear. It seems like within that piece of gear, you can also progress that gear by unlocking the perk. So you might find something you really like, and then you have to spend some time with it to be able to fully like unlock it and make it as good as possible, which sounds quite cool because then you're slightly more invested in like the individual pieces, as opposed to typical progression is just I've got a new chest piece, let me just swap it out kind of thing. So that sounds quite cool.
You know what got me super excited? When I saw the skill trees and there was like multiple pages of the skills.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I was like, what? I was only expecting like 4 and it was just going to be those like locked abilities, but then there was like different types of skills within those skill trees. So it would be like, oh yeah, this is like a defensive skill tree. And each character's got their own like defensive. Oh, it was mad. Like I was like, wow.
I think we actually had a glimpse at Iron Man's skill tree, and it looked like he had a missile skill tree, a laser skill tree, and then he had like 2 other skill trees that I can't even remember. I remember in the laser skill tree there was one that was just like, shooting the rapid lasers out of his palms. Then there was one that shot like the beam lasers out of his palms. Then you could do like different swipes with those beams and combos. So it looked like it was pretty cool.
Didn't they say that you can like combine the skills in like interesting ways? Like you could have like a swipe of like your beams and then combine that with like the rocket launchers to kind of like create your own combat.
Create your own combos.
Yeah.
I think you said the different active like powers of your character were bound to the D-pad, I think. So you could be in like laser mode and then you could literally just press on the D-pad and you go into missile mode and you could do all your missile abilities and then go into the next mode and do all of those, sort of combo them together.
And there's also going to be more to it as well, because he said the stuff they haven't even spoken about. He said there's going to be things like buffs and passives and stuff which they haven't even touched on yet. So I imagine there's more to your character than just the combat stuff, right? You're going to start factoring in like passive abilities as well, which could be really cool. So I mean, obviously that much we don't know about, and they did say that for like all the co-op stuff, for progression stuff, for like a lot of this stuff that we've had a chance to see, and the stuff they obviously still haven't spoken about yet, they did say they'll be speaking about in the new year. So I guess for anyone that kind of wants to sort of see and know a lot more, that's probably going to be the next kind of big beat for sort of discovering stuff. But yeah, I mean,
it's going to sound mad crazy to me to say, but I hope this game doesn't even have an end game and they just stay in their lane with like it and just make a game that is like fun to play co-op, that you can just play every now and then, like just grind out a bit, and has a campaign and just has new campaign content, and you kind of treat it as like a hybrid single player multiplayer game that you can just play with friends and chill out with.
I think that's fine, because I mean, it's not like there's so many of these games that are trying to sort of do this these days. Like, not every game needs to have like an end game like raid where like you're trying to sort of do this crazy min-max content. Sometimes it's just fun to like sit in, play with your comic characters, like level some things up, and as you say, just like check back in and be like, all right, this month, guys, they're adding Venom. Yo, let's go. There's like a bunch of new missions, or just something like random. So that could be cool. Yeah, definitely.
I think it depends on what the co-op missions actually are. Is it like a wave defense? Is it a horde mode? Is it just go and clear an objective? Hopefully they've got some like cool co-op like mission objectives, and maybe even variety would be nice in that as well, so it doesn't just feel, because there are some games where you jump into a co-op mission and it's the same thing over and over again. It gets boring after like 4 or 5 times, so I'm hoping that there's that variety, because we haven't got to see the exact like missions and the objectives in there, so I'm hoping it'll be good.
Well,
Well, I definitely think from what we've seen so far, it's definitely sort of like shaping up quite nicely. I definitely think for anyone that sort of, because I appreciate we've done a few videos on it and people are still like in the comments, they're still like unsure. And it is a difficult thing because what you guys have seen publicly is different to what we've seen behind closed doors. And it's definitely one of those games where our opinions heavily changed the second we got to go hands-on. So I do think it is kind of it's almost like a hard sell right now until you get to try it yourself. But from what we have played, we are definitely enjoying what we've tried. We're kind of cautiously optimistic, so of course we're going to be following it anyway. So as and when we find out more, we'll of course keep you guys bang up to date. But for the time being, that's a quick rundown on what we thought on Marvel's Avengers so far. I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. Remember to hit that subscribe button and also click on the little bell icon to turn on notifications so you don't miss my next upload. Also, don't forget, you can check out 269 and Paradise Central streaming over on Twitch 6 days a week. You can find a link to the multi-stream in the description box down below. Be sure to drop by and get involved. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.